Yeah, hello there and welcome to the Podcasters Mastery Launch a Podcast in 5 Days Masterclass. Now, in this video, what we're going to do is talk through the equipment that you will need to launch a podcast. And what I like to do is I like to do it live. So we're going to be doing it directly into the webcam so that you can see the exact setup that I use to create Join Up Dots and to turn it into a six-figure business like I have. Now, one of the key things that I have learned through podcasting is so many podcasters overcomplicate things. So many podcasters will add this piece of equipment and that piece of equipment that they've been told that they need. Now, the bottom line for a podcast is, number one, it's got to be good audio. If it sounds crappy, then people aren't going to stick with you. It's got to sound like good quality. And you can do that in an absolute shoestring. So you don't have to buy all the nuts and bolts to make it like a professional radio station. What you need to do is use this microphone in the right way and be able to do it fast afterwards. And that is the second thing I've learned. So many podcasters tell me that they hire people to edit their production afterwards. Absolute waste of time. Absolute waste of time, which we'll show you in later videos as well. I take about 19 seconds to a minute and a half after each episode to get it out to the world. Now, this video is about equipment, okay? So the very first thing that we're going to talk about is microphones. Now, there are kind of 3 levels of microphones that you need as a minimum. Now, you can start off with talking directly into a webcam. Most of these ones, your PC have built-in microphones, but please don't think of doing that. That is totally amateur. That is a complete waste of your time, because although you will be saving yourself a few dollars, a few pounds at the very beginning, it will come back to bite you. It really will. It sounds inferior. People won't stick with you, and what you want to do is make your content sound as professional as possible. So the starting point that I would recommend is one of these things, as you can see here. Now, this is a ClearChat, Logitech ClearChat USB headphone and microphone, and it's the kind of ones that you will see people using in call centers across the world. So when they're taking your messages and dealing with you on the phone, this is the kind of thing that they actually use instead of having the phone crooked up over their ears. So you put it on and you have the microphone there, and you can speak directly into this and actually record straight into your PC. Now, this is the starting point. Now, my show is an interview show, so I ask all guests at a minimum to have one of these things before they actually come on my show, because I know that the audio quality is pretty damn good. Now, if you are worried about whether you're going to like podcasting and you don't want to spend a lot of money right at the beginning, I accept that totally. So what we want to do is just tell you what you will need. So you will see a link, and we'll send the link out to you as well to look at the Logitech, and they're about $39, give or take. So that's about sort of 25 pounds, and it is USB. I also like USB because the less cables, and I've discovered this from actually doing podcasting, the less cables you have going into your PC, into your mixer, into your sound card, the less kind of audio issues you have. It seems to be that the simple way gives you crystal clear, too many wires going across, and you can get audio buzz and white noise, which is very annoying, and it takes you forever and a day to work out the issues. So with the Logitech ClearChat, you simply take your USB and you plug it straight into your computer. As I say, this is the minimum requirements. We can go more technical as we proceed through, but at the moment we just want to teach you how to record a podcast in a way that if you're a technophobe if you're worried about using technology, you can overcome easily. So that's the first one, Logitech Clear Chat, for about $40. Now, I actually, funnily enough, I used to work in a corporate environment and I used to make internal podcasts, and I did all of them on that. And I'd be reluctant to do it in the outside environment. Certainly, if I was doing one that's going out to the world, I would say step up to this one here. Now, this one here is known as an ATR 2100, and I would say now it is the podcast microphone of choice for the majority of podcasters out there. It gives you a brilliant sound. It's directly focused on your voice. It doesn't pick up too much of the room ambience, and this is about $60. So for that extra 20, you really can't beat this one. ATR 2100. Once again, it's a USB microphone, so that means that you can plug it directly into your sound card, into your PC, and you are good to go. Now, what I have added is a windshield, as you can see on the front. You don't need this, but it takes away all the pops and the sisses when you're talking. By actually talking into this, it gives you a much clearer radio sound. So once again, I would recommend getting something over the top of your microphone so it's not absolutely live. It's not picking up all the sisses and the pops and your pronunciations when you speak. It gives you a nicer podcast at the end. Now, recording this, I've actually got it on a different setting. I've got it much louder so that I can actually step away from it and talk to you directly into the webcam, and you can still hear it on here. But if I was doing this, and I was doing this as a radio show, as a podcast, I actually get my mouth right into it, so it is crystal clear audio. So that is the ATR 2100 microphone. Now you also see that I have got a shock mount, which is desk mounted, and I'll just take my webcam off, and you can see there's the actual stand connected to the side of the desktop. Now that is an additional expense, and I would say to you, if you're going to do this professionally as you proceed through, it's great, because then you've got a desk free space to do whatever you need to do when you're recording your shows. But if you don't want to have that shock mount, you can have one of these, and I'll just show it to you. Okay, back onto the video. It does come with its own desk mic stand, so it actually sits right in front of you, and all you do is basically connect the microphone into this and you are ready to go. Now, one of the tips that I would actually say to you, if you are trying to do this at a cost, so trying to reduce your overheads, is go for this, but don't buy one of these microphone windshields. All you can do is get a trainer sock or a sneaker sock and actually put it over your microphone. That does the same thing as this. And also another little trick is if you connect a pencil on the top of the microphone with an elastic band round it, and then put the sock over that, that will reduces the S's and the pops as well. Little trick for you. So that means that you don't have to buy one of these, but of course it looks good and it's more professional. Now, the next stage up is a microphone that's known as the Heil PR40. Okay, now this is a microphone, and I'll bring up a picture of it now. Okay, here it is now, and you can see this is the professional one. This is the microphone of fully established podcasters a few years ago. Now, it's about $400. It's a huge increase from the ATR 2100. And most podcasters now say that technology has moved on at such a pace, you don't have to spend that amount. It looks good in pictures. Yeah, I can see that. But the sound is no better than the ATR 2100. So that is the technology for microphones. That is the first stage of this presentation, and you can go for the Logitech ClearChat, which is about $39. Will do the job. I recommend stepping up to the ATR 2100, but if you want to go the whole hog and really look good in pictures but not really get any better audio, then you can go for the Heil, which is the high end, which is about $400. Okay, so in that last segment we looked at the microphones of choice for podcasters and gave you 3 options that will take your podcasting onto from the beginner's level to the more serious level, with our clear indication that we would go with the ATR 2100. Now, as good as your microphone is, I learned from experience that they're only as good as the mixer that you actually use. And once again, we're going to be teaching you about using the right equipment to get going. And so I have learned that the mixer that I kind of stumbled across right at the very beginning, that I've used for all 600 episodes, causes me no issues. It's very easy to set up and is quite cheap, round about sort of $40 or so. So once again, we're not breaking the bank here. If you haven't got this money, this is your setup costs, okay? This is your startup costs. It's worthwhile spending what you can afford right at the very beginning, but then we will also teach you how to reduce everything afterwards. So the maximum of your expenditure will be right at the beginning, as you can imagine. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the webcam off and show you my recommendation for mixer. Now, why do you need a mixer, first of all? With a microphone, without a mixer, you are going to get just the raw sound of the room, the raw sound of your voice. Now, what I like to do is actually put my voice through a mixer to get extra bass into it, so it doesn't sound like the voice I would normally speak with, but it sounds like the kind of radio DJ voice that you like and sounds so appealing. And how you do that is by putting it through a mixer, which you can increase the bass. Very easy to do. It's simply moving a couple of sliders up and then getting it onto your recording software for you to convert it into a file, which then becomes your podcast. Now, I have spoken to so many podcasters and they say to me they've had more issues with the mixer because they bought something too complicated for a beginner than anything else. It's quite easy to plug in a microphone, it's quite easy to use a mixer, and it's quite easy to use the recording software. It's bringing it together. So we don't want to make it too complicated. Now, this is my recommendation. So I'm going to pull the microphone, the webcam off. You won't see me, but you'll see the mixer. Right, okay. So here we go. Now, this is a Xenex 302 USB mixer. Now you can see as I'm speaking, the lights are flashing up here to indicate that I've got 2 channels. Now, that's what I wanted first of all. I wanted it as simple as possible. You can get multiple channels. That's a channel. That's a channel. If you're doing it professionally and you want other people's microphones to be linked in and recording in live environments, you can do it far more professionally than this. But at the very beginning, the key thing that I think that you should look out for any mixers that you actually are looking to buy, is make sure it's a USB one. This means at the back, you can see it plugs directly into your computer. Once again, you're reducing the amount of cables that you have got left, right and center. Okay, you're keeping it to a minimum. And if you keep it to a minimum, then, and I pull that out, that's my speaker. If you keep it to a minimum, then you will get the best audio, okay? Now, you will proceed and you will become more knowledgeable and more experienced, and you might want to move on from here. But I have done over 600 episodes using this little thing here. Now, you can see this cable there is my microphone, which is just simply linked to here, my ATR 2100. That is one cable going into there. and then we've got the USB going directly into the computer. So the microphone goes from here directly into there. You add certain levels of bass, and then it goes into your recording software. Now, the main thing about why this is brilliant is this little function button there, or this dial actually. Now, that's known as gain. And what you can do, you can desensitize your microphone so it only picks up in a very small area. Now, if you are recording at home, and I can pick up this very easily when I listen to other podcasts, if I'm hearing any sounds like doors closing, kids crying, dogs barking, windows opening, fire alarms going off, whatever that sort of external sound, I can tell that they're not putting it through a mixer and they haven't got the gain set at the right level, because that means that this microphone here is only picking up my voice at the level that I actually want to speak. So I'll put that back there. Let me put that back there. Okay. So in summary on that, by putting it into that mixer, I've increased the bass, I've made the audio sound better, and also I can reduce the sensitivity on this, that outside noises never appear on my recording. And it's amazing. I think the mixer is better than the microphone in certain regards because of that. Now, what we like to do in Podcasters Mastery is teach you how to record through such a simple setup like this, but also get great audio. And you can go over to Join Up Dots and listen to the sound quality. Other podcasters ask me time and time again, how are you doing this on a shoestring? And I tell them, it's all part of being a podcasting master. Okay, so that's the mixer. Now, if we get back onto this again, so I'll pull this down. Okay, so I've got two channels. That's the guest. If you're doing an interview show, that's me. I can see that my dials are going going yellow when I speak. Now over here there's a good little function and it's called the clip. So if I turn this up really high and I speak into it, and I'm speaking right down into it there, you can see that that is not actually clipping. That's not going into danger level when I speak, and that's because of the gain. The gain is set down to reduce all ambience, even though the microphone volume is on maximum. Now if I turn that gain up and I started speaking into the microphone again, you can see that the buttons are changing to red now. They're flashing red. Hello, hello. That indicates that I have got the microphone set up incorrectly for the audio. So it's telling me all the way that it's going to sound good at the end. And that's literally all I have. Your setup will be very different, so you will need to change the main mix so that you can hear it better through your own speakers. That is the speaker setup. So that is when I'm listening through iTunes on my own show, I just plug headphones into there, listen to it through there, and job done. So that's a Xenix 302 USB mixer, which is, I think, absolutely brilliant. And I can't see myself changing from this because I know that simplicity is key, and it's the killer of all podcasters. They start off at the beginning and they go, I'm going to be a podcaster, brilliant, and they buy top-notch quality stuff, and then they have wires left, right and centre, and it's too difficult for them, and their sound card doesn't operate with them, and they get background hum and hiss, and it's a complete pain in the backside. Keep everything as simple as you can, and not only is it more enjoyable for you, but if you do then get some issues, which you might have at the beginning because all computers are set up slightly differently, it's so much quicker to solve it because you've got such a fewer range of wires and components that can cause the problem. Okay, so that's the end of the second part of this, and my recommendation is Once again, ATR 2100 USB microphone and the Xenix 302 USB mixer. Straight into your PC, nice and simple, plug it in and you are ready to go. But don't try to sort of do podcasting without a mixer. Don't think that you can go cheap, because ultimately you will be picking up sounds left, right and centre, and it just makes for an inferior quality show. Okay, so into the microphone, into the mixer, onto your computer, and record it on a software of your choice that will convert it into an MP3 file that your listeners will consume, and they will consume your knowledge, your inspiration, your expertise, and that is what converts everybody into loyal customers, because they get to hear you talk about a subject that can be monetized. And so what we're going to do in this video is just show you the recording softwares, and there's kind of 3 or 4. Now, the very first one that a lot of people use is one known as Audacity. And Audacity is a free software that you can download directly off the internet. And what we'll do now, we'll go over there and we'll get it and we'll just show you how it works, basically. Now, I don't actually use Audacity because I've realized that the ability to produce content really quickly and premium audio, even though that we're showing you the right way to do it here, I like an extra kind of recording software that isn't free, but I think it's money in the bank. It absolutely is. And that is Camtasia, which you can use for podcasting and videos. But let's go over and get Audacity. Okay, so over in Google land, all you've got to type in is Audacity, which is Audacity, and the very first thing that will come up is the free download. And this is open source, so it is totally free, and they are developing it all the time. And I know loads and loads of podcasters that are just using this, and they've been using it right from the very beginning all the way through. So if you want to do that, totally understandable. As I said, I don't actually use this myself because I had Camtasia 8 already from my previous job, and I just knew that it had extra stuff which was a bit sexy. But all you got to do is go into Audacity and you choose what your system is, whether it's Windows, whether it's Mac. And so I'm just going to click on Windows and I'm just going to download it. So let's download that one, and in the normal way I just put it on my desktop amongst all the files. It's just downloading, and there we go. It's downloaded already very, very quickly. So I'm just going to click on that, drag my file across, and you can see that Audacity is here. So I'm just going to click on there, extract all. And then it's just uploading at the moment, just dragging it from one screen to another. All pretty self-explanatory. And here we go. We have got our recording software set up. And it literally is like a large tape recorder for anybody who's used this in the old days. You come along the top, you choose your microphone, what your audio setting in. So I will go to audio codec, and you leave your speakers so that you can hear it. And obviously this setup is totally different for yourself, and you can do things like adding bass, and there's a load of tutorials online that will teach you how to add that extra functionality that gives you that DJ voice. And I'm just going to come along, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to record. So you can see it's got play, stop, whatever. So I'm going to click record. Hello there, this is David Ralph coming to you live from the United Kingdom, and this is a very quick tutorial teaching you how to record with Audacity. And there we go. So I've stopped that, and I can play back. Record. Hello there, this is David Ralph coming to you live from the United Kingdom, and this is a very quick tutorial teaching you how to record with Audacity. And there we go. So it's very good audio quality. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click new, because I'm going to show you how we actually do it, not using our software, but I'm just going to click on my files. Let's bring these up. And this is why there we go, join up dots sounds. So what I actually do, I record and edit live, and we structure all our files for the show so that we can play them live on the show. And unusually for most people, they will add all this content afterwards, but I like to do it live, so it means there's no editing afterwards. And you've got to bear in mind, it is a interview show, so I record over Skype. Now 99.9% of people, they can't do this. They can't do what I'm going to show you now because they haven't configured Skype, they haven't configured the system in the right way. That means that you can actually do all your editing. So if I just click on record and get my files up in front of me, and I'm doing this slightly differently so that you can see it. So here we go. So I'm going to play my intro.
When we're young, we have an amazing positive outlook about how great life is going to be, but somewhere along the line, we forget to dream and end up settling. Join Up Dots features amazing people
now you
who
would be able to hear that on there, so I'm going to stop that. That would normally pick it straight up, but I can see that I haven't set that up for system audio as well. So you have to set that up for system audio, and then that would pick up that. But basically, you can play your live files, then talk over it, and at the end of it, your audio is all done. Now, that is Audacity, so you can just go over and get that for free if you want to start that way. What I like to do is use Camtasia, which is totally different, and I'm going to show you Camtasia now. So let me close Audacity off. But bear in mind, it's a free program. It's amazing, really. There we go. So we've closed it all off. Okay, now this is Camtasia. This is what I do to record all my podcasts on, just because of the extra functionality that I think is amazing. And also, as you proceed through being a podcaster, you will get to the point that you start creating video as well. Audacity doesn't do that. It's just a sound file. This can actually do everything. Now, it's about $150 lifetime membership, so it's not free, but it's certainly a lot cheaper than the monthly memberships that a lot of people pay for on something like Adobe Audition that you can go over and look for. Adobe Audition. Now, I know a lot of people will use Adobe Audition and they swear blind that it's the best thing ever. I'm going to say something differently, and I'm going to say, as a podcaster's mastery tuition, this is where you should be going. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to record my show exactly like I normally would. Now, bear in mind that I am doing this live. Is a little bit different because I'm actually recording the screen as well, so it's recording my voice. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to imagine that I'm starting up a new show, so I'm going to bring my podcast sounds over, and from this point on, this is how the show is going to be. So here we go.
When we're young, we have an amazing positive outlook about how great life is going to be, but somewhere along the line, we forget to dream and end up settling. Join Up Dots features amazing people who refuse to give up and chose to go after their dreams. This is your blueprint for greatness. So here's your host, live from the back of his garden in the UK, David Ralph.
Yes, hello there, and welcome to an absolute special edition of Join Up Dots. This is the place where you will be coming day in, day out to get the inspirational, conversational, powerhouse kind of content that really has made this show what it is. And what, of course, it is a series of sound clips that are recorded live as we do them, like this one. Of course, we can then stop that and we can have a bit of Jim Carrey.
My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't believe that that was possible for him. And so he made it.
Thank you very much for listening, and that is the end of the show. Now, in a moment, I'm going to show you how I actually pull that together, but I've got to convert that. That was a very rough idea of the method that I record these shows under. Here we go. Right, okay, so these are the key files. So from this point on, where I put the marker, that is the show. That is the show that I've recorded, and you can see because I do it live, I have got my voice, I have got the audio track there all set up. So all I need to do basically is come along, clean up the bits I don't want. So that is where I had my speaker left on, and I'm going to highlight that and silence that, and I can just play you from here.
His garden in the UK, David Ralph.
Yes, hello there and welcome to an absolute... So you can hear I go straight into both files and audio clips. I'm going to take that off. That was the pre-chat for the video, so I'm just going to take that off because that's not required. And now I've done that, all I do on Camtasia is highlight it all, go over to my audio track, I click medium volume so it balances both sides of the track, so my guest will be the same level as me, and I increase the volume so it comes out good on iTunes, and literally that is my editing. That is the whole editing. I've recorded and edited everything live. If I want to get really fussy, I can just silence certain bits of it, but I don't. I just leave it as it is. But my whole editing process on Camtasia is about 19 seconds because I do it this way. Now, we will, of course, not be going into the level of Camtasia videos in this tutorial because it would go on for weeks. But in Podcasters Mastery, the actual platform, we give every single thing. We've got about 30 or 40 tutorials based around this product, and we've also got them for Audacity and GarageBand and the other kind of recording software that you might want to use. So this is what I use. You can also go and check out Adobe Audition as well, because I know a lot of people use that. That's a monthly basis, but I would say if you want to start off free, Audacity is perfectly fine. It gives you a great audio sound. If you want to increase the amount of content that you're producing and making sure that the editing is really, really easy and you're not scared to actually spend a bit of money at the very beginning, then you cannot beat Camtasia. But if you are worried about the money, then Audacity is absolutely fine right from the very beginning. So there we go. That is the run through of the equipment that you need. You need a microphone, you need a mixer, and you need recording software. Totally up to you which ones you want to use, whether you want to go low price on the microphone and spend more on the recording software, or spend nothing on the recording software and more on the microphone. It's totally up to you. My recommendation is what I've told you. I've been using this for 2 years now. I have got it to an absolute fine art using these, and I know that they're simple, but the audio quality is amazing. So my recommendation is the ATR2100 USB, the Zenix 302 USB, and Camtasia Video. If I was going to lose any of those, I would say microphone stick with, mixer definitely stick with, and use Audacity if you want to save money at the end, and you will still be good to go.